know if any of you guys are tired of doing the bulb shuffle here with cats, but I'm done. It's horseshit light, it's horseshit voltage regulators, and the bulbs, they just don't last. So problem one is it's getting hard to find the high-low beam bulbs for your regular cats. Then you go and you switch to just a tractor lamp, and that's okay, but it's all diffused and it takes nothing and it pops, or it's super dim, or it's yellow. I got the answer. So we're going LED. Now, you say, well, an LED can't be run on a vintage Arctic Cat. Well, I've come up with the solution. Stick with me and we'll see if we can get this figured out together. All right, so what are we dealing with? We're dealing with a PAR 36, which is just your standard bulb size. So if you're gonna Google or Amazon, PAR 36 is where you wanna start. This thing is 5,000 K on the white. It is 15 watts, 2,000 lumens. Now, how are we powering this thing? Well, on the Lynx, I'm doing an experiment. I'm running a sealed lead acid 7 amp hour battery. We're gonna see how long this thing lasts in real world conditions this winter. But for now, I decided to tuck a battery in my tool bag, and we're gonna take a look at that. On the Puma, I don't have a headlight pod. So I went with the Road Shock 3-inch in flood. You can buy this in spot or flood. Get them right from Harbor Freight. I'll put a link in the description below to that. Now this one is powered by my new regulator rectifier, which we're gonna have to get into the weeds a little bit on this. This produces 15 volts of DC current. We'll get into that in 1 second. But for now, let me show you my tool bag with my battery pack. All right, so here's my DeWalt tool bag. I rarely leave anywhere without this thing. It's got extra wire, it's got extra tape, it's got all kinds of tie wraps and duct tape and everything. And I carry this with me anyway. So I tucked a battery in there, and I've just got a polarity sensitive connector on, just a 2-pole automotive connector. You can buy these at Menards or Napa or whatever. But this just runs out and it plugs into my harness, which powers the headlight only. So again, that's 7 amp hour. We're gonna look at those specifications. I'll put a link in the description to that battery to see if you maybe want to go down that road. But for now, we're gonna go into the weeds and look at the rectifier that I put into the Puma. All right, so here's the Road Shock light that I made a bracket for on the handlebars of my Puma. Now the goal of this project was to keep this thing as wire-free and as light as possible. But the reality is it gets dark too early and I don't want to have to mess around. So you can see here I mounted where typically a voltage regulator would go. I've got a regulator rectifier, and we'll talk about that and its specifications and where to buy it. But that's just tied into the lighting circuit. So the only thing I have in that lighting circuit is this Road Shock light. This thing works awesome. It's producing 15 volts at mid and high RPMs. I don't know what else you could ask for. Absolutely, positively perfect. Okay, we're gonna get a little bit geeked out, but the key to all of this is you guys are gonna have to look at your electrical schematics and decide where to put this regulator rectifier. This is not in any way a plug and play into your electrical system. Now you're gonna see that you're gonna have a coil like this, and sometimes you're gonna see a little symbol and one side is just left open. Sometimes it goes to ground. Either way, you're gonna have yellows that come out for your lighting circuit. And from there, it's gonna usually go to something called AC, or AC voltage. And you're gonna find a regulator that comes into here and then goes to ground. So it is indeed paralleled into the circuit. What we wanna do is we want to put in series. So we're gonna have a box. This is our new regulator rectifier. The yellow is gonna go to the stator, and the red is gonna go to load, which is then gonna go to your switch, which is then gonna go to your LED lights, which is then gonna go to ground. What we're looking to do here is we're looking to series in this thing and splice into your circuit. So let's get a little bit deeper in the weeds and look at a couple of CAT schematics. All right, so here's an example of a Lynx schematic that is manual start without accessories. If you start having other accessories, you're gonna have to study your schematic and decide where you wanna put this thing. Here's your voltage regulator. You can see that it comes down and then goes right to ground, okay? So that is indeed in parallel, it's dumping excess voltage to ground. What you wanna do is cut in right here and put that regulator. So this would be the yellow and this would be the red. Let's find another schematic. Okay, so here's your engine connector. This is your typical Arctic Cat schematic. So here's your yellow coming out, and this is gonna go to AC. And then from there, you're gonna see another one, AC, which goes to your regulator. When indeed, this thing just goes to ground, right? It comes out of the regulator, comes here and goes to ground. So what we're looking to do is we wanna splice in right here, coming out of your engine. The yellow goes to your stator or to your engine plug, and the red goes to your ground. Basic electronics here, basic. I can't make this thing plug and play. You guys are gonna have to look at your schematics and decide, and that doesn't matter if you got an LT Gray, a Cheetah, a Panther, a Puma, if you've got accessories, starters, things like that, you're gonna have to decide where you wanna splice this thing in and to get DC voltage. But what this is gonna do is send DC voltage to here, then all of your lights are gonna be powered in DC voltage. Make sense? All right, let's figure out what that looks like on the Puma. Now you're gonna see that the light kind of hits the hood a little bit. That's what I got to work with. So I do lose a little bit of the effectiveness of this 1000 lumen road shock light, but right now it's as good as I can do, and I'm pretty happy with it. And I'm pretty sure you will be too. Have a look at the Lynx. Now with this one, you're going to notice that the lights tip down just a touch, but I'm not on the machine either, so it does tip up just a little bit. But this one's 2000 lumen. I think you're going to like that too. Let's check that out. The key to this whole project is one minty son of a bitch, and that's Mike Lacklor. He identified the regulator rectifier that he thought was going to work to do this, and it worked awesome. I can't thank him enough. It was an experiment. It's still a little bit of an experiment, especially with the Puma, and to see if I like the battery or if I like the rectifier. The rectifier holds up. But the key here was to take your wild lighting coil voltage, which your voltage regulator now kind of sort of drops down to where it should, but it drops it to a 15 volts in a smooth DC that you can run your LEDs on. Even at idle, this thing is producing like 10 volts, and it will still power this road shock light, no problem. It doesn't get dim, it just starts to flicker a little bit. As soon as I touch the throttle, thing's right back online at 15 volts. Couldn't be happier. So good luck, you guys. I hope you liked the video. Remember, pitter patter, we got after this one. I teamed up with a guy. It was his idea. I bought some stuff. Couldn't be happier. See you on the next one.